So certainly, last but not the least, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Jaya Bhateja. She's an ICF Master Certified Coach, Executive Coach, Coach Educator, and Team Coach. Jaya is the founder of Abhyudaya Global Circle, an initiative committed to shaping world leadership through professional coaching in organizations. Since 2011, she has passionately worked towards uplifting the quality of coaching for leaders and coaches across the globe. A member of the esteemed Forbes Coaches Council, Jaya has served as a thought leader across many platforms and contributed significantly to the International Coaching Federation as a board member and across various global initiatives. Her impact is deeply personal. She has trained, mentored, and supervised over 300 coaches, and her work has been recognized through several prestigious awards, including the India Coaching Excellence Guru Award 2023, 100 Best Global Coaching Leaders 2017 by the World HRD Congress, and the Young Leader Award 2019 by ICF Global, and I can go on. Jaya's mission is clear: to support leaders and coaches in reaching their fullest potential to help build a positive systemic impact on society. Please join me in welcoming Jaya. And for all of us, please let's keep the chat flowing like we were in the previous session. Let's keep the energy alive and feel free to use the Zoom emojis like we are. And please put your questions in the Q&A box, not the chat. It will help us to curate them better. And this session is being recorded like others and will be shared to you after the conference. A lot of people are asking about the recordings, so I'm just mentioning that. Jaya, would you prefer to take the questions during the session in breaks, or should we keep them towards the end?
Yeah, let's keep the questions coming in and let me take it in the end. Maybe I'll answer your questions through the
Sure.
present.
Sunanda and I'll be keeping an eye on the Q&A box and the chat, so no worry about that. So welcome, Jaya. Over to you.
Thank you, Himani. Can I get the rights to share?
Absolutely.
I'm still not able to share my presentation.
30
Now I
seconds.
thank you. I got it. All right. Welcome everyone. I am not able to see you. That's the best way I interact. However, I'll do with whatever is being given here right now. So first of all, take some deep breaths. I'm sure you were sitting for almost an hour at least because I've been here and I can see all of you here. So please take some deep breaths. Give some break to your brain before we start into this conversation. I'll pause. All right. And if you have taken some good breaths, deep breaths, let's get started with this conversation. So first of all, thank you, Himani, Sunanda, Naveen, for this opportunity. I'm glad I could make it this year. Last year was a bummer, literally. But anyway, so the conversation that we are doing here, extending to what Rajneesh was presenting about, how a particular organization like SNP is building coaching culture, we'll go a little bit macro in nature and talk about what is the need of coaching culture. Why did we even start this conversation in this industry? How did one-to-one coaching became coaching culture conversation? And what's really happening in the world? I'm going to share some case studies with you. I'm also going to share some examples, some data with you. So hold on. I'm very happy to share these presentations with all of you. So you can either take notes or screenshots or whatever works for you. However, just a good conversation can help everybody. Keep putting your questions in Q&A, and I would be very happy to take them towards the end. So today, what I'm going to focus on is why talk about coaching culture, how can coaching culture help, what's the process, and what's the evidence we have. So let's start with the global leadership crisis. Now, interestingly, in 2015, there was a survey done by World Economic Forum. You can see the screenshot on this slide, which alarmingly indicated that 86% of respondents think that there is a leadership crisis in the world today. What was much more alarming then was that it is shown across the globe. Then further alarming data was that it is shown, one second, where is this? Yeah. It was shown across the sectors. If you absorb this data, nothing is beyond 5.53. And that's not a very great news. And that became that steered the conversation for more surveys and more data. And what started coming out was this. So 2015 was that survey by World Economic Forum. Then there were more reports and more consulting organizations started inquiring about what's happening really, because it's a bold statement to make that we have leadership crisis. And then everybody started inquiring that. So you see the trust barometer for managers and leaders has not improved from 22 to 24. Rather, for managers, it has declined. And for leaders, it may have remained same, but it's not a great number anyway, right? So what are we really talking about? What are the leaders really doing? Are leaders doing managers' job? Are they just accomplishing their task and not being able to inspire people? Has generation changed? Has COVID impacted? Has the diversity agenda disrupted the whole equation? What has really gone wrong, right? Because these numbers are really, really not encouraging. More data started suggesting that organizations are right now facing lack of employee engagement. Only 21% of employees globally are engaged at work, according to Gallup's report. Decline in trust in leadership, Edelman's report. Poor adaptation to change, McKinsey's report, and I can go on. And I started studying these data because I train coaches, so I have to be on top of these numbers. And I started noticing that a lot of consulting organizations, including Conferry, KPMG, ANY, all these organizations started publishing such reports, along with along with highlighting how leadership crises are becoming more and more evident in most of the organization across the globe, across the sector. Now that's the at a hindsight, that's the opportunity for coaches, and that's also that could also be the reason why coaching profession has got a boost in last couple of years. So some of the points which were very prevalent through multiple researches was the first one, 86%, the one that I covered in World Economic Forum. 70% of business leaders believe critical leadership skills are lacking within their organizations, while nearly 40% say the gap has worsened in last past year. Only 28% of your Gen Z professionals aspire to management positions, with majority citing the stress, pressure, and lack of work-life balance as a reason for avoiding these roles, which means it's not very inspiring to be a leader. I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to be a leader because I know if once I become that, if once I have people responsibility, I will have to go through a lot of pressure. And so, which means that those are the examples they are seeing in their environment, right? Another data, 52% of Gen Z intentionally steering clear of middle management. Just 6.4% of global leaders are consistently rated as having high emotional quotient. Corporate India struggles with 88% of top companies citing leadership gaps. So I can go on, and there are more reports which we can pick up and see what's going on. So a couple of reasons and couple of root causes that came up were number one, outdated leadership styles continue through current selection and development. The way we are hiring, the way we are resuming leadership responsibilities, or the way we are passing on leadership responsibilities in organizations is very outdated in nature. It doesn't work for today's world. The second one, leaders are resistant resistant to changing their leadership styles. There is a sense of righteousness. There is also a sense of, hey, my career is anyway, I'm anyway closer to my my career is sunsetting, so why do I have to change? And it has worked so far, so why should I change? So all those reasons, right? Leadership development is an under-invested component in the organizations. Current businesses' challenges require different styles of leadership. A democratic leadership style is needed for innovation, and employees are not interested in developing leadership skills. And I'm sure most of your coaches here have witnessed those conversations where you have to first work on creating the readiness before you really start coaching them. And rather than they inviting coaching, we are reaching out to them saying, do you want coaching? Which should be the opposite equation, really. So take a pause here. If in case there are any questions, please take a few minutes to put it on in chat. You can also post some comments or some observations so that we can learn from you. Anything. Okay, moving on. How can coaching culture help? Again, multiple reports, um, data backed reports. Sorry.
I was just checking if there are any questions. Not yet, Chair.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So multiple reports, multiple surveys indicate these three large pillars where coaching culture has shown evidence of improvement. The first one increased is a stronger employee engagement and retention. So obviously, what Rajnish was saying, when people are given the chance to be heard, and there is conversations beyond work, and somebody's helping them think beyond their jobs and talking about their careers and caring for them in a way, there is a stronger engagement and retention. So that is definitely seen as a benefit to coaching culture. So in terms of increased commitment, reduced turnover, sense of belonging. The second one is elevated performance and leadership excellence. Um, there's an element of motivation here. People find ways to, especially the high performers, really want to grow. And if there is someone to coach them and guide them and help them make their goals and make them progress, there is definitely more growth available. So this again is backed up by data where there is the employees have or the senior managers have noticed accelerated growth, better mindsets, and high performance culture. And the third benefit that has been experienced by a lot of organizations is greater organizational agility, innovation, and resilience. Now, being coaches, we know that these are the benefits, but if it gets proven by data, it becomes easier to convince the organization. So, what's really the process? Now, what we do in our organization is when we reach out to organizations, the organizations are reaching out to us. We have created this maturity model, and we try to understand at what maturity are they in coaching journey. Because what we have also noticed in last so many years is there is there is a lot of randomization in adapting or picking up coaching. Generally starts with higher management. Some organizations are, because there are departments, so some department is picking up team coaching, some is not picking up coaching, somebody is picking up leader as a coach, but there is overall strategy of the organization is not focused on it yet for a lot of at least Indian organizations. So the best way for us to see was that are you even ready for a coaching culture kind of an approach? So we use this model to see what is the organization's maturity and what is the individual dimensions maturity for organizations to move ahead. Where what is the point A and what is the point B? What we do in coaching. So the first stage is discovery, where you're trying to understand how much of coaching have you deployed so far. What percentage of employees have taken? What level were they? For what was the reason? What are the outcomes of that? And then you go on to mastery, which is more around really building the fabric of organizations through coaching culture, adding them into mission vision, making it part of KRAs, really talking the talk of about coaching culture. So this is the maturity model we use, which helps us identify where is the organization and what's the next step they need to take. The six elements of this culture, this maturity model, are scope for coaching effort, what I just said, I'll just kind of go through it once. The degree to which coaching skills are available to and practiced by all levels of the organization. Then the degree to which coaching skills are available and practiced, the recognition and perceived value of embedding coaching processes, systems, and structures, the level of engagement, and how is it communicated to all the levels, and is it even part of your core values? Just there, a very interesting conversation I was having day before yesterday with somebody, and she was the HR head of an organization, and she said, you know what, while we are trying to deploy leader coaching skills in our organization, my doubt is that we have been pushing our leaders on entrepreneurship, speed, agility kind of values. And coaching actually needs you to slow down a bit. How will we blend this together? And that was something that stayed with me. I said, yeah, actually, in last few decades, we have been pushing organizations. We, in the sense, the leaders in the organizations are pushing organizations or their leaders to deliver fast, and that's what they have been trained on: deliver fast, be outcome focused, be be agile and all those things. And now we are asking them to slow down. So there is a level of contradiction that most of the organizations will have to face when they start looking at coaching culture, because coaching culture really invites you to slow down, pause, think, reflect, which all obviously need a bit of time and attention. So looking at the core values as to what are they communicating and how can you connect coaching as a skill to that, or not even skill, actually mindset to the organization, and how do you communicate that? Because till the time the CEO of the organization is not convinced, what are we talking about? And till the time we are not connecting it to core values, then we are also not communicating that, and we are not practicing it definitely. So it's like top to down, you create the ripple effect from there. The value of embedding coaching principles into organizations' culture and everyday business operations. What are you teaching your leaders about everyday conversations, everyday operations? A very interesting conversation I was again having with one of my friend who's a consultant, and then he learned coaching now. And he was saying that, yeah, consultants find it difficult to do coaching. I said, yeah, you know what? If you just observe, consultant have a word consult. And consult means consult, which means listen and ask. Even if you're just able to do consultation, your aim is achieved. But the problem is we are on our own drive to prove our own worth to others, which is okay, but at least listen, at least ask, at least moderate the conversations both sides. So again, very interesting perspective how we can blend and flip the perspective to different roles which are available. And any role that is available in the organization needs collaboration of ideas and thinking. But are they seeing it like that? Or are they in an auto mode to just deploy, instruct, drive, push, and all that? So that's the kind of awareness is required. And then the last piece is around outcome focused. How is this how is this taken as a collective responsibility? Is this connected to KRA? Does it have an impact on the operational and financial effectiveness? Going to that level. So again, this is a journey. Not every organization can be there or should be there. Depending on their maturity stage, they can pick up the next stage. So similar, same journey with some questions. So these are some reflection questions we send it to our clients to say, can you reflect on this and see where you are? Or when we do our first conversation, try to understand what all have they done. And mostly what I have learned from most of the organization is they are somewhere in the first or the second stage. And they're building coaching culture randomly. That's another bummer because if there is no science to it, you will invest a lot of money and it will not reach anywhere. Simple example is deploying of coaching platforms is happening like a fashion trend. I've also heard a lot of feedback around it's not effective. Why? Because we are using it like a commodity. The uptake is a problem. Again, I'm not against any platform. I really encourage technology to be part of this whole industry. However, we need to understand why and what is our culture narrative and what can help where. One side, we are saying there is a lot of loneliness because humans are not talking to each other. The second side, we are asking people to talk to bots for their coaching needs. We are totally confusing our own selves. So, given said that, I think there is also a need to catch on trends. So that's what is happening right now. So that's the organizational maturity stages, and this is the individual coaching maturity stage. Let's spend some time on this. So the initial stage for any coach is overall emotional intelligence, apart from your credentials and education and everything. And then there is a stage of giving and receiving feedback with open-mindedness. Now this can be inside the organization. You can also take it like your path for maturity. General interest and desire for coaching, individual learning approach, listening skills, curiosity, and self awareness, and outcome focus. Now, if an organization is evaluating their maturity and they want to build in, they need to see that they have sufficient enough internal coaches who can help them deploy that strategy, because there can be a support which external coaches can give and should give. However, till the time this hierarchy or this maturity model is not connected to the coaches and they're only focused on running the coaching conversation, it doesn't go very far.
Jaya,
Right.
there are a few questions. So
Sure. Let me
should
see.
we take them right now?
Yeah, let me see. It'll
They're
help.
related to what we were discussing a while earlier. So that's why I thought maybe we can take them right now.
Sure. So the question I see here is, how does emotional intelligence is directly related to need for coaching? Can you explain the question a little bit more? Because I think coaching is all about emotional intelligence. So what's really the question? So
I
the
can
slide
try
essentially
and
what I'm, yeah,
hmm.
Lim, please go ahead. Go ahead.
I can try and unmute her. That's what I was saying. So maybe she can, ask directly.
Yeah, please. Let me
And
understand.
meanwhile, there's something in the chat, which is from Memon. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She is asking about what is the impact of working from home on leadership, and what's the type of leadership required if, when we are working from home.
Hmm. That's an interesting question. I'm thinking, how's this connected to coaching culture? However, I'll try to answer. So,
Sure.
see, working from home is a mode, but how is the organizational leadership engaging and connecting with people, whether they're working from home or in the office, is
Mm-hmm.
the main conversation. There can be a times when everybody's in the office, but nobody's really talking to each other. And there can be times when people are working from home, but there is a strategy and there is a ritual or calendarized way for people to connect and have deeper conversations. So really depends on the culture again, if that helps. Okay.
Right. And I have unmuted Lim. Yeah,
Hi,
I've
Lim.
unmuted Lim, but maybe she can ask her question later. And Dr. Wilson also has raised his hand. Dr. Wilson, we'll come back to you a little later. That's all right? Thanks.
We need to also emphasize on ethical and integrity intelligence. Absolutely, Dr. Dev. It is the integrity plays such a big role in coaching that we hardly dive into it in our real lives. Okay, so moving on. What just a summary of this slide is that when an organization is looking at deploying coaching culture, they need coaches with high emotional intelligence. they need, or let's say they need leaders who are high on emotional intelligence. So that's also the reason when you deploy an initiative in an organization, you will see very few move forward. Not everybody is interested in developing other people. And people who are actually take that agenda away, forwards. For example, if I'm training, let's say 20 leaders on coaching skills, I'll find two or three or four out of them who are actually interested to take up coaching as their hobby or as their profession or their learning agenda. So that's what it is saying, that what is the overall emotional intelligence is the first stage of discovering. Then what is the mindset for receiving and giving feedback? What is the general desire for coaching for that individual? What is the learning approach that person uses for themselves and others? Because again, learning approach, if it is very instructional in nature, you know it is hard for that person to be a good coach, because naturally there has to be an inclination towards empathy and listening to others and wanting others to develop. So all that comes here. What is the listening skills, curiosity, and self awareness overall, and how much outcome focus that person is? Because in organizations, if coaching conversation is just a good philosophical conversation, it doesn't go very far, because organizations need outcome. Every organization who's trying to deploy coaching culture ask you first for a dashboard, ask you first for a measure of success. They want to know how will you measure what all will get impacted by the intervention you're bringing in, which is fair because they are investing in it. So it cannot be, we cannot be in a very life coaching mode to say, hey, I'll provide space for you and I don't know about the outcome. That doesn't fly for the organizations. Okay, so let's go to a little bit of case studies and then I can take up more questions. Now, before we go there, so just a little bit of context. I have been on the panel of ICF Prism Award Judgment Committee for a couple of times. So, which means that I have gone through a lot of case studies for organizations who have applied for coaching ICF Award, not ICF Impact, because I did it at the time of ICF Prism Award. And that has given me a deeper understanding of what does it mean for an organization to really get a coaching culture award or a ICF Prism award. The four pillars of those case studies or those rubric that we used to follow were these four. First, checking on the impact. So there was a rubric on which there were percentages given to say, hey, if this percentage of impact was provided, then where, there is a complete grid on where do you put the organization based on that. So basically, how deep, how many people have they coached, or how many people have been trained. So there was a complete grid on that. Then what are the standards? What is the standard they're focusing, which means their credentials and you know how many internal coaches they have, how are they deploying, and then strategy. What's the strategy they are following? And as I showed you the maturity model, again, tagging to that strategy really means that where all do they where they plan to apply that, how are they measuring it, how is senior the senior leadership involved in it, how is CEO involved in it, what's the stake, what budget, all that. So that comes under strategy. So again, levels of that too. And then sustainability, because it's not enough to just train organizations, but also to sustain those practices. So how are internal coaches going to apply it, who will monitor, who will supervise, all that strategy. So four pillars around that. Let's look at this case study from Texas, the MD Anderson Cancer Center. This is the organization which got the ICF Impact Award in 2024. The four things that they've done is one, performance of coaching skills, which means they have actually started evaluating their leaders on what are they doing to build capacity in their people. So they have included coach and develop as them as one of the competencies in their KRA. The positive impact of coaching skills is reflected in managers' rating for capacity building, which is consistently average between 2.50 and 2.55 on a scale of 3. So this is the data. Then they've connected it to organizational outcome, regularly assessing the long-term impact of coaching participation, comparing coached employees and leaders to matched controlled sample on key performance indicators as internal promotion and turnover. So they basically check how many people were coached and how are how are they doing as compared to people who were not. Internal leadership promotions, supervisors incorporate coaching into talent discussions and individuals in talent review process, engage in formal coaching. This strategic approach has resulted in outstanding achievement in internal promotion. So basically, they link it to promotion, which is like connecting it to reward and also connecting it to the KRAs. So then that completes the loop. And retention of new leaders, all the newly appointed and promoted leaders, whether in administrative, clinical, or research roles, are paired with onboarded coaches. So there is a figure to say what is the reduction in leader turnover. That is the University of Texas. They've got this award last year. Generally, the award process is that the applications are up, there is criteria shared with the organizations, and if any organization has done deeper work on coaching, they will apply with the case studies and they'll have to provide evidence on how they track it and everything. So this information is from here. All of you will notice that I've added a scan code here. You can scan and read the whole case study from there. So that is possible. AstraZeneca was 2023 award winner, ICF Impact Award winner. They have launched multi-phased coaching strategy across AstraZeneca, and around 80,000 employees have have gone through that initiative. Coaches engage with managers and employees through interactive workshop, experiential learning, and digital assets to develop coaching competencies. The program success for this phase led to introduction of manager as a coach and leader as a coach program. So all customized learning being made available and coaching is available throughout employees working cycle and is available for all career levels. So these are major things that got them to this. So scale also matters. I remember one of the conversations when we were evaluating organizations during my ICF present days, we realized that the scale is also important. It is very easy to deploy something in a organization which has 100, 200 employees. And look at here, 80,000 employees deploying something like this is not easy. And then checking its efficacy, making sure everything is on track is a completely different task, even if you use technology. So that's pretty, worth appreciating. More on AstraZeneca, they have actually linked their purpose and define. So their purpose is to unlock potential of people, partners, and patients, and they have linked this initiative with this purpose. With its value for team collaboration and innovation, the coaching program became necessary business priority for AstraZeneca and supported by senior leaders, compelling global narrative, culture transformation. So if you just connect with the maturity model, it's top to down. Till the time the organization leaders are not connected and ambassadors and partners of these initiatives, the coaching culture cannot be built. It cannot happen in isolation for sure. Performance development experiences and leadership development programs were redesigned with these competencies at core, allowing thousands of employees to receive coaching. Again, scan codes are there. You want to read the full case study, it's available. You can have a look at it. These are all on ICF website, so please feel free. To 2021, TCS from India got this award. Similar approach, starting from the senior leadership and then percolating it down, making sure there are sponsors, making sure that everybody gets coaching, making sure it is part of every process of employee development cycle, employee life cycle. So that's what has worked out. These are the organizations from 2005 till 2018. I collated this long back, and earlier there used to be a honorary award and there were honorable mention. It's because there were several applications coming in, and if there is an organization which is closer, we used to consider that too. So just a glance on the kind of organizations who have applied coaching. So imagine that even if ICF Prism Award was deployed in 2005, not that coaching culture was not happening in other organizations earlier than that, but that's the time it formally started getting documented. And it's very encouraging for all of us to see how coaching is creating an impact in different organizations. The geographies definitely have a different way of adapting coaching as a methodology. For example, in India, the cultural nuances are, takes a little longer to adopt coaching as a culture. So the 7 best practices for the organization that I've noticed across most of the case studies was number 1, leadership commitment, partnership, and sponsorship. It can't be just giving the budget and washing your hands to say, please do whatever you want to do. No, the leaders have to stand up, come share the context, encourage conversations, be part of the whole initiative, actively part of the initiative to be able to drive this culture initiative. Integrated coaching programs into employee life cycle practices, measurable impact is extremely important. And again, recent conversation where we're trying to figure out how will we measure. The good idea is always to pick up your existing surveys rather than creating something new, because that gives you a comparative plus. It is also important for organizations to see where they want to see see the needle moving. It's very easy for a coach to come and say, "Hey, I will deploy a program. I'll give you a pre and post survey," which is fine, but that's based on my criteria. However, the organization need to see where their parameters on employee engagement, or even dipsticks, right? I tell them go talk to people. Numbers may not reveal everything because, a lot of times people don't take survey, and it is very hard to measure the feelings of how people are feeling being heard. So things like that. So how do you create the measurable impact and ROI dashboard or grid or whatever is important. Embedding coaching values into the culture, connect it with organization values, broad access and inclusion. Internal coaching programs utilize diverse pool of coaches, reflecting a broad commitment to DEIB, collaboration and knowledge sharing through internal communities and internal coaches is extremely important. There has to be a continuity to the initiatives. 4 best practices for coaches, whether you are internal coach or external coach. Number 1, social impact and community engagement. Deploy coaching to serve vulnerable populations, supporting mental health crisis and social reintegration for prisoners, leadership for women. These are some examples also. Career navigation for underserved students, design initiatives that directly addresses global challenge like poverty, refugee integration, sustainable development goals, like that. Second, volunteerism and pro bono initiatives, mobilize large-scale pro bono volunteer coaching efforts to maximize reach and impact within communities, especially during emergencies. Third one, commitment to DEIB, explicitly prioritizing diversity. So these are the places where you can actually show support or connect your agenda, because ultimately it's all about empowerment, making coaching accessible to wider range of social and professional groups, actively creating supportive, psychological safe environment to foster openness and learning and continuous professional development. And I'll add one more is brand building. Do build your brands, because you are not called for your education. That is hygiene. You're called for your brand. So a lot of times I've seen coaches struggling because they're not focusing on building their brands. If you want to do more work in coaching, build a brand. There is a lot of help the world needs today. This is a slide on resources where I have added one ebook. Actually, this page will take you to loads of ebooks, see what you want to download and what's relevant for you. But there is one specific on strategy for building coaching culture. Feel free to download that. There is an NHRD journal which got published recently on the same topic about how to transform workplaces through coaching. The scan code is given there. There is a YouTube channel where we share a lot of content, and a lot of our sessions are recorded. Goes there. Feel free to visit and subscribe. We share some light content on Instagram light and relevant, I should say. And then there is a LinkedIn page where we share some content. So in case you're interested, and we also have an internal community of around 300 plus coaches where we share ideas, we seek support, we share content, we give opportunities to coaches to come and present to raise their own confidence. So feel free to, you know, pick up what works for you. Here is my email ID and LinkedIn ID. I would be very happy to connect and take any questions and or have a conversation. So that's all from my side. Let me see what are the questions here. Okay, Dr. Tay, do you have a question for me?
Yes, Jaya. Thank you very much for sharing your presentation. I think it's great and it's also sad, as you say. If you look at your earlier slide, one of the things is that leadership has basically, in a way, I thought, because I've been in leadership development for the last 40 years, in executive development, or maybe 35 years. And I see that there is a loss of direction. We spend billions of dollars in leadership development, in training and development, but somehow it has gone awry. The reason why, and I'm trying to guess why, I think somehow we've lost focus. It's all start with integrity. Uh, Edmund Index is all below 5. It's a sad state of affair. It's you say it's a leadership crisis, and I keep asking why do we get into this situation? And it was good. 2 days ago, I had a coffee with my mentor, and he came up with this idea. Um, and I'm trying to do some research. Maybe I'll share with you as well because you have a very good program. You have a very structured program for leadership development. Uh, he provided me with this insight, and I don't know whether people will agree with me or not. He said to me, he said, look here, in a normal distribution, there will be 15% on the right, which will always do right. In an organizational culture, they will always do right. They are religious people and they will always do right. There's another 15% on the other side. So it's like the Pareto rule, 80-20 rule. So let's say 20%. 20% will always find some opportunity to do something wrong or to be self-centered. They will take advantage when they are in leadership position. And he made this insight. If we find the leaders in the right side, right, who will always do good, the whole culture, the 80% will follow the leader. And it will basically build future leaders who will follow the same culture of integrity and ethical practice. But if you get the wrong leaders leading the company, the other 80% will follow and it will be sustained a future generation of corrupted leaders. So it's very interesting. I look at the countries and it's very true. So they say the fish rot at the head. If there is basically leadership flaw in terms of integrity and morality, the whole organization will be infected by that culture. So I kept thinking about it, Over the years, I've been focusing on like your 7 competency is to look at basically outcome, effectiveness, focus. But now that my mentor was saying is that we got to go back to teach people integrity and values, and you have values as well. So maybe you can comment on that as part of your model. Should we be coaching people on ethical practices, emphasize on basically integrity? And if we get that right, perhaps maybe leadership will gain back its reputation over the years. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a very profound observation, Dr. Day, because what is happening is, yes, I see, first of all, nobody accepts that they are not integral. That's the first place, right? And that comes from the space of maybe greed or fear, because FOMO is all is a result of, hey, I don't want to lose, and hence let me take a shortcut. And in that shortcut, did I do something which was not right? Because if we
mm,
just have to go in the right way and not do anything wrong, that, I mean, nobody comes to organizations or to say, hey, I'm going to screw up, or I want to be unethical, but people do
mm,
unethical things, or they do not stay honest to themselves is when there is a benefit to that. And that's the place to coach. That's the place for inquiry, because they have not had that conversations with themselves to say, why did I even take that step? And when they get to reflect on it, then a lot of people do realize that maybe it was avoidable, right? But nobody guided them at the right time. Or it was so hidden that they thought it's okay to do it. So there are a lot of conversations coaches can evoke in their conversation by challenging. And that's what I say in my training most of the time. Please get comfortable, get comfortable on challenging your clients. And challenging doesn't mean offending. It also doesn't mean threatening. It also doesn't mean you are rude to them. But learn the language where they get to see themselves fully. They get to question their ethics. They get to question their values. And it is not about you're wrong or your values are wrong. It's just about just look at it, just reconsider. And that's my response to you. Does that make sense?
In your Yes, it does. In your experience, Jaya, I saw the avoidance of leadership. Very sad. In my younger days, we were so hungry for leadership. We want to take more responsibility. I ran a university, and I offered position of leadership, but nobody wanted to take it. And I just keep asking the question, why competent people are not interested in leadership role. Very sad. And is it because they see, CEO turnover is very high, leadership turnover is very high, so it's not attractive anymore, like when in our younger days we were all aspiring to be leaders, but I think, just people now basically they are put off by leaders as well. I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe
actually,
your comment.
yeah, two reasons there. One, I've not seen an inspiring leader, and I don't want to be a toxic one, number one. Number two, there was a very interesting story in my corporate days. Somebody said that, don't give ideas, because if you give ideas, your manager will say, go and implement. Now, the whole burden of the implementation and the strategy and everything comes to you, and then you are questioned and asked for, you are accountable for that development. That's where people pull off that, I'm giving idea, but that doesn't mean I'm left alone in that. I'm giving idea because I want collaboration. I would like to be supported and heard rather than to be left alone in that. And that's also the reason why a lot of people stopped giving ideas. Not that people don't have ideas, right? And
Yeah.
then again, acceptance of new ideas, unconventional ideas, because a lot of organizations, actually, a lot of leaders do not want to hear wacky ideas or don't want to make mistakes or do not want to be standing for things which are tough or unconventional in nature. So that's where our new generation is coming from to say, hey, if I'm not allowed to speak, why am I here? Right?
Thank you for your insight. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jan, Dr. Wilson, for that. It was very, very important, I think, and relevant conversation. If I may just kind of add to that, I think there are two parts to this when it's about leaders and organizations, because leaders may have values. How in sync are they with the organization's values? Is the
Yeah.
organization's culture and values strong enough to guide the leader as well as allow the leader to be ethical? Because we
Yeah.
do know that organizations, because they're all profit oriented mostly, they do compromise, they're answerable to their shareholders. So therefore, very often they will, I think, subtly send messages. So give you an example. In India, Diwali is a big festival. So while the value might be that, you will not do anything financially incorrect, but the fact is that we do know at time of Diwali, organizations, especially departments which deal with vendors like supply chain, right, are flooded with gifts.
Yeah.
Right. In one of the organizations that I worked with, an American multinational, there was a limit that you would not accept anything beyond $10. So I think there has to be a match between your own values and the organization's values for a leader to be successful and be strong enough to walk the path.
Yeah, and I think the
And any
internal
thoughts that
compass
you and Jaya, Dr. Wilson have on it, I would welcome that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the internal compass of human needs to be really strong. Like, even if nobody's watching me, I'm doing the right thing for myself.
correct.
Versus, hey,
Yeah,
nobody's watching me, let me do it, nobody will know about it. That's not the point. That's what internal integrity means, right?
yes.
And how many organizations or leaders actually step out of their boundary because thinking nobody's watching them. That's where things go wrong.
Absolutely.
Mm. I just want to add to Jaya's point. I always interpret that integrity is being honest to yourself. Honesty
Exactly.
is being truthful to others.
Yes.
You know,
You're
and
right.
and 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 the most difficult thing in leadership is I always have this dilemma: doing the best thing and doing the right thing. And if those two are congruent, I'm at peace. But
Yeah.
often enough, if I do the best thing for the shareholders, but I'm not doing the right thing, I get into a conflict situation.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, inner compass has to be extremely strong, whether
Yeah.
somebody's watching or not, do the right thing.
Mm.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm done. Thank you. Over to you, if you any other questions or comments.
Watching the chat and seeing some thumbs up and some lots of love coming your way.
Thank you. Thank you.
And no open questions as of now. We have a couple of minutes. If you do want to share something with Jaya, reflect something, ask something, here's an opportunity. And this is also the last day of our conference. And so we will also be kind of moving out from here after this, but not to be that we won't be in touch. We will be keeping in touch by way of keeping will be open, the website will be open, and all comments and all the feedback and all the reflections from all the speakers, whoever you want to address, please keep sharing them with us so that we can, share them with the speakers. And as well as we have these regularly monthly programs where we'll call either a coach or a leader who we can meet, talk, reflect with, and that's the idea of this um, forum. So Madhumita says, hey Jaya, you're amazing, lots of insights. The question is, you spoke about the maturity model. How do you assess this for organizations at the ground level?
So, good question, Madhumita. Glad to see you here. So, for now, at least when I have leveraged this for Indian organizations, I have seen that they're at a very premature stages. So, it's not very difficult. But so it's basically just a question to the learning officer to say, hey, where do you think, how much have you deployed? And they know it because it's they can count it on their fingers. It's that low. However, the future is to build some tool around that so that, and again, because all the learning initiative or coaching is always tagged to learning officer or learning team, that's the way to check where are they in their journey. Pretty easy actually. So far, it has been through conversations. They know what all initiatives they have done, how much budget they have added. So it goes back to them actually. We can build a tool where it doesn't make sense, as I think, because it's just a learning officer's, agenda to just share what's happening. So I like to ask them, saying, "Where do you think you are on maturity model?"
Perfect coaching question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And thanks, Madhumita, for that. And meet Jeff, Jaya. This is Jeff is
hi,
one
Jeff.
of our
Hi. Yeah. Hi,
founders
Jaya.
members.
Thank you. Very nice. The sharing of Prism Award and all. Yeah, we hope that some of them could come from Asia one day. Seems to me, yeah, of course, Tata is an Asian company, but maybe
Yeah,
ASEAN. Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
So that
yeah,
creates a lot of hope for all of us, right? I mean, there are case studies. So it shows us it's possible, and we have a lot of work to do.
yeah. We need to get them to apply for that. And interesting sharing. Dr. Wilson says that. a lot of people want to be, when he was young, and they all want to be leaders. But there was a study recently, and I'm going to take it out and share with Dr. Wilson. The bad news is that the Gen Z, apparently, they don't want to be managers because they say that the managers, if you come across, the work sucks and doesn't pay well. You'll
So
have it.
interestingly, Gen Z doesn't want to be managers. They also don't want to be managed. So
Yes.
there is a pretty much different mindset, right? They don't want you to manage them. That's another thing.
So
Yeah.
good thing that you retired, Dr. Wilson.
Yeah. That's right, Jeff.
What kind of example we have set in?
We leave it to the Gen X now, because the baby boomers are all retired. We leave the Gen X to manage the Gen Y and the Gen Z.
No, we
But
must
they
not
are
give
very
up.
good though. Yeah.
Yeah. I often
Yeah.
say it in my trainings that don't forget that they are not in your world. You are in their world. So you need to adapt. It doesn't
That's
matter.
correct. Yes. Spot on,
Exactly.
Jaya. Spot on. Yes, spot on.
We
We
have
have
to
to
adapt.
adapt.
Yeah, whether
Yeah.
we
We
like
have-
them, not like them, whether we say whatever,
Yes.
saying they don't know how to adjust, they are not patient, they are very,
Yeah.
85, they don't, whatever we can complain about, we are
Yeah.
in their.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we
But
must
they are
not give up.
smart. They are fast. Yeah, they are
Yeah.
fast. They are creative. They are fast. They are
Yeah.
bold. Yeah, you can say all the things. Yeah, they are
No, Jeff,
brave.
we still got value. We must not give up.
We're not going to give up. This is just the beginning. So on that
Yes.
quite hopeful note, we once
Yeah.
again thank Jaya for giving us time and all the insights that she gave us and all the data
Yeah.
and all the hope that we're going to be creating these. Yes, Jeff, in the next year, Asia is going to be on top. Yeah. And once again, thank you, Jaya, and thank you to everybody who could join us for
Yeah.
not only today, but all the 3 days and kept this forum alive with your questions, with your reflections, with your curiosity. And that's what will keep this going even in the future. So thank
I
you so
have
much.
Hema, I have one Maimon here. Let's do 1 more minute. Maimon, I haven't heard from you. Are you Puan Sri Maimon? Do you have anything to share? Waking up her. All right. I think, yeah, she's not there. Okay, Hamani, back to you now. Yeah, thank you very much, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
inviting
you,
me.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you,
Take care.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From all of us at LCA, thank you.